Hello everyone, thanks to the power of the internet, I get to talk with you all, and we just got really cool reveals. So right here I have Black Wings. Card Fight Vanguard. We got what kind of is Bloom, what kind of is not. We'll go into it. I think it's pretty cool. So obviously we have our starter. I don't really have to talk about much about it, because all starters do the same thing. If you're going second, you wrote over it, draw a card. Pretty cool, pretty alright. What does the grade... the grade 1 do? Well, when it's wrote upon by specifically Elkerer, so the grade 2, you can discard a card from hand and reveal your grade 3, which needs to have Sky Ruler from your ride deck. Search your deck up to one grade 1 without Sentinel with 6,000 power or less and call it to rearguard. Now, obviously this was intended to call one of its rearguards, but in the later I'm going to show you a few more that are also pretty funny to call off this thing, so we'll go into it. So you might be wondering what the grade 2 does. Well, here's the specific one you need. And when it's wrote upon by the grade 3 Sky Ruler, you can Soul Blast 1, look at top 5, discard 1, shuffle, and then choose a grade 2 or less from drop, and call it on to rearguard. I mean, so far, so good. You have Deck Thin 1, Deck Thin 2 for the ride line, but when you think about it, it's also trying to fill your drop as much as possible. So if you just go off of you're not guarding at all, discard 1 for the grade 1, for ride up, grade 1 effect, discard 1, reveal, search your deck, call it. It can be retired or not. You can use it for an early game rush. So you're already at 2. Discard again for this grade 2 for ride up. You gotta wait till you ride on top of it, so that's discard another one for ride, that's 4 and drop without you guarding. Soul Blast 1, that's 5. So you're already set up good. However, you gotta discard another one from your top 5, so that's already 6. Meaning, when I reveal the grade 3, Belgar the Sky Ruler, and now you can all see why I made a Black Wings joke at the beginning of this video, is because he looks so much like one. But he has the effect, during your turn, if you have 10 or more in drop, this unit gets plus 5k. If you have 20 or more, which I can say takes a lot of effort, you get 15, which is pretty cool. And don't forget, that now hits without Persona Ride 28. That's a cool, fun number. And now you're wondering, what are these other 2 effects? Well, Counterblast 1, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one of them into hand, discard the rest. Alright, so that helps you enable. It's not something you always have to do, but make sure you fill your drop, but also get a free unit off of it. But more importantly, what does this hidden effect do? The other ones per turn. At the end of the battle, attack the Vanguard, Counterblast 1, choose a column, and stand it. If your opponent's a grade 3, however, and you have 15 or more cards in your drop, you stand all of your rear guards. So this goes from a 4 attack deck to a 5 attack deck for Counterblast 1. And you know what? That's pretty good. Rotovisor, which is why he's on the thumbnail, wishes he was at this cost. And this simple. Though I can say, as someone who's dedicated to playing like Cristianos, has done a little bit of Nitros, getting to 15 in drop can sometimes be a hassle. And even when I was counting already, just getting up to him gets you 6 cards in drop. But you need Counterblast, so you at least have to take 1 attack, right? So let's say you guard once, that's 7 in drop. You don't really want to use this first CB effect to discard another one and call a rear, because you're already doing so much. And you think Philander would be a good card, where it is. It's an 18k booster that gets to swing again. That's still really slow. That gets you 8 on your first turn. So you got to start adding up. But let's go over some of the other support that was also revealed. We have a Burr, who reminds me of, what is this, Right Arrestor. Basically, you want to hit the magic number of 10 for most of these support, because if you have 10 or more and drop, if your Vanguard is the grade 3 Sky Ruler, it gets boost, which is pretty good, but it also gets another 5k power. Following that, we have this. If you have a grade 3 or greater Sky Ruler, Soul Blast 1, this unit gets shield plus 5k. Hey, if you have 15 in drop instead of plus 5, it gets plus 15. So it's a 20k shield for Soul Blast 1. When placed on guard, as long as you're tied to a grade 3. So, not the worst thing in the world. For a common, it's doing a lot of work. However, here's one of the more cooler things, and the thing you're supposed to search off of your grade 1. I wish this thing was a 6k, because then it starts hitting better numbers with its first effect, which we'll get into. So during your turn, it gets plus 1k for each of your rearguards with the same name as this unit, including itself. So yeah, it goes to 6k with itself, but then it hits 9k. I would have just enjoyed it being a 10k booster, is all I'm saying, and this is why, I thought it was Bloom. You're not allowed to play 16 of these, sadly, which would have been a cool effect. However, there's more to it than that. This cost may also be paid by Counterblast 1 and discard a card from your hand. And if you do, you get to search 3 cards instead of 1. However, what does it do? When it's placed on rearguard, so even from an effect, you discard up to 1 card from the top of your deck, reveal it, and if you are a grade 3 Sky Ruler, or you can reveal one from your ride deck, you discard a card from your hand, search your deck or drop for up to 1 rabbit, call it to rear, and shuffle the deck if you searched it. So basically this thing searches out itself, which is really good with deck thinning, but also if you noticed, it helps with that deck acceleration for a discard. Because don't forget, can be paid with Counterblast 1 and discard a card from your hand. So that's already another one off the top. So like I said, you guarded once, so you went from 7, now you have 8 in drop. Hey, but also this thing, you have to discard another card from your hand. That's 9. And you can proc the other rabbit again, which gets you to your 10. But that is, if you find it, if you decide to pay cost. Like I said, this deck is kind of CB heavy, because if you want, your Vanguard technically does say Counterblast 2 for both effects. This asks for Counterblast, and as you'll see, we get another card. This one is probably the best card in the deck. Here's Thruster Vixen. Great name, yeah. When it's placed on rearguard, except by the ability of a unit card, you retire another rearguard with a different name than this unit, so it can't be itself. Search your drop or deck for up to 1 card with the same name as this unit, so another Vixen, and call it to rearguard. If you search the deck, shuffle it. So that's cool. Not only are you once again facilitating the drop, you get more rearguards of Thruster Vixen, who is the better grade 2, because the other one just is a 15k beater that can boost. But this thing has another effect. At the start of the battle phase, if you are a grade 3 greater with Sky Ruler, you will discard a card from your hand until the end of your opponent's next turn. It gets plus 15 attack and defense. So it's a 15k, which makes it a little bit more inconvenient to swing into, but it's also a 10k shield. Hey, but guess what? If you are 15 or more in drop, once again, magic numbers, it gets an additional 5 attack and defense, meaning this becomes a 20k attacker and a 15k shield. So that's not too bad. Going over some of the initial just weaknesses, if you noticed, a lot of these things say discard 1 from hand, and while that is phenomenal, you don't have a lot of card draw. So you really want to get your opponent out turn 3, turn 4, which means you really have to turbo drop your deck to get to that 15-20 mark, just to make everything massive. Which it's okay. Deck thinning is deck winning. You also just lose to retire, because you have no innate protection or revival. And you also lose to guard intercept, because as you notice, Vixen is a really nice card to have, as it's a 15k shield if you have 15 in drop. Whoa, 15s. However, that requires you to intercept, because it has to be on the rear guard at the start of your battle to get that extra power. So you really can't use it from hand. But like I said, it is a very good piece for Sky Ruler, which is why I showed it last. Going off of some things I just want to point out for support. One of my favorite things, Megacolony Battler Type C. Why? Because you don't care if you discard this. You don't give a shit. Because you're adding to the game and it can revive itself for Soul Blast, another one for Soul Blast 1 on place. But also, it's just Philander. On place, you look at the top card of your deck. Put it on the bottom, or discard it. You want to discard anyway, and because you can play up to 16 of these things, you're going to be putting a lot into drop really quickly. And it's just so perfect. Small little chef's kiss. But this also means you can play the grade 1, because when it's discarded from your hand, or during the battle, anything other than during the battle phase, nope, as long as you have a Megacolony Battler, you can Energy Blast 3, which is something you don't touch, and you can call it to rear. And then, at the beginning of your battle phase, you can choose up to your Megacolony for every 4, and they get boost. So not only is this taking the place of, where is he? This bear, you know, who I'm going to call Right Arrester. You now have massive rear guards. So this is a 30k booster. Hey, if you have 10 or more, they become 40k column, which you can counterblast 1 and just restand. That's awesome! I'm definitely going to play this variant of Sky Ruler just because I find it way more funnier and a little bit more quicker, because that's how I currently have my Night Rose set up. And hey, 15k shield? Well, we have one of those. So it's just really fun to include. But going off, some of the other things you can call off your grade 1. Hey, Burrow Shrooms is a 6k and gens you 2 plant tokens. Whether that helps you with early rush by giving you a 10k column with 2 plant tokens, or 10k boosters, it's up to you. Note how Vixen can retire a plant token just to call itself. So it's not that bad, because it also feeds your soul, which you occasionally need to up. Many of you probably don't know this card, but I'm going to bring attention to it. Sylvanhorn Beast Creta. When it attacks or boosts, you can Soul Blast 1, and it gets 2k for end of that battle for each of your rear guards. Which, you know, this is in the once per turn. So you can just proc it again. So it's a pretty cool booster and a pretty cool attacker, even early on. Because if you swarm the field, I mean, if you don't really want to, especially if you're not searching a rabbit. But if you have this as a cheeky one-of and plenty of rabbits in hand, it works. Hey, who could have guessed that the number specified on the card works really well with Nectar of Sensationalism. Why? Choose one of your rear guards, and until end of turn, it gets plus 5k for every card and every 5 and drop. And then if you have the magic number 15, give a crit. You have a restanding rear guard. So let's say you have 15. That's plus 15. If you have 20, hey, that's not too bad either, because you restand and you get massive columns. Some other cheeky things I decided, because you do have Rabbit, this card does have some use, because you can choose a rear guard, it gets plus 5k for each of your grade 1 or less. Assuming you have 3 of your rabbits, that helps you hit not just 9k booster. Becomes a 24. And this just works really well whenever you're running the Burrow Shroom package, because that makes your plant tokens massive. And hey, do you know who else has exactly original 5k or less? Wrong card. Where is he? There he is. So not only does Burrow Shroom benefit from this order, but so do your rabbits. So they all become 15k boosters, plus 10 for all of these, so 16 if it's riding alone, 17 for 2, 18 for 3. Which, hey, that's Philander for just playing in order and having all 3 of these in the back row. Which isn't the hardest thing in the world to accomplish, because they all kind of search themselves out. Yeah, but that's my running thought for Skyruler. There's a lot that can happen with it. The deck's pretty cool. It's not going to be meta changing. But once again, this is only first wave of support, so who knows where this is going to go. This is also another thing you can read in their manga. This is where, Silhouette came from, Mythiarch. And those decks are doing pretty alright. I know Mythiarch can steal some games, especially with its support, and is doing pretty damn well. But this is basically our Nova Grappler meet semi-bloom, weird drop hybrid. So, hopefully, you all enjoyed these reveals. I can't really make a deck because it's not on CFA yet, at least in the time of recording. Or, Vang Pro, which I normally like to show off some test hands. But, like I said, I think this is all I can really say about Skyruler right now. It's a promising deck, and you can do some pretty cheeky things with it, but nothing game-changing. Once again, if you're going to play it, I highly suggest Megacolony Battler build. You will have a lot of fun. Trust me. And if you made it past all my goddamn mad ramblings, thank you.